Hello YouTube, it's William here with Gopher Trains, and in today's episode we are going to be taking a look at the differences between the Rivarossi, Chesapeake and Ohio 462 Heavy Pacific and 282 Heavy Mikado. These are both super cool engines. Just recently picked them up, $165 for the pair, which I feel like is a pretty good price. Anyways, we're going to take a look at the biggest differences, and we're gonna run them for just a little bit. So anyways, I'm gonna move the camera away and we will get started. Alrighty, so I pulled the Pacific forward just a little bit. And before we compare the two, I just want to note that I've got my usual freight consist on the Pacific and the 20th Century Limited passenger cars behind the Mikado because I don't have any C&O passenger cars yet. Someday I'd like to find some heavyweights just to run behind these things. But anyways, here we have the Pacific. Pretty gorgeous engine. The first thing you'll notice is that the two of them use the exact same shell casting actually. There is no difference between the shell on the Pacific and the Mike. If I swapped them, you wouldn't notice the difference except for the road numbers. This one has a horn hook installed in the front so that it could be double-headed. That's what the previous owner liked to do with these. The 491, I think those are actually decals. I'm not sure Rivarossi actually added numbers to the number boards because the Mikado is blank. Moving back, you can see it has the standard Rivarossi Heavy Pacific drive gear and the cab number 491. Now this one's been remotored with an IHC can motor. It's fairly well done, but I'm not sure why, but the loco grinds gears. I'll mention this again later, just a heads up. And here's the big difference between the two. These things came stock with a Vanderbilt C&O tender, red accents to match the red cab roof, and of course the standard 6-axle tender. Vanderbilt, just like a lot of Rivarossi's other offerings, really nice golden C&O logos on there. Move back to the Mikado. Again, same boiler casting, same boiler front, same everything. Moving back, you can see it has the Rivarossi Mikado drive gear. Looks super nice, especially when in motion. Both of these are very sharp engines. But details-wise, they are nearly identical, with the difference being the cab number, and this one is all original. It has the standard cab-mounted motor. And this one has the long-haul tender. Now, this isn't actually the tender I got with a locomotive. This one came from the seller with another Vandy tender, this guy right here. But I don't normally use it because it's been decaled. So I normally keep this one, unless I'm running the 464 C&O Hudson, I keep that tender in the box. So normally this tender runs with my C&O Redbox Hudson. However, I'm using it just for the video to demonstrate the way this thing should look. And the other big difference is the drives. This one uses the same drive that all of the other cab mount AHM Rivarossi engines use, with the horizontal drive shaft going into a worm gear, into a transfer or idler gear, into the actual drive gear on the axle. This one, however, is a bit different. It uses the motor at an angle with a drive shaft pointing downward. Very similar to the FEF actually, and I've disassembled this drive cover slightly so you can see what that looks like. This one I'm working on a remotor, but I can't figure out why the pickups aren't working as they should. Anyways, this is what it looks like. It's literally just the worm directly interfacing the drive gear, so it cuts out that middle gear. As for which one I like better, I have to say I do like the Mikado's drive a lot, but I think the classic Rivarossi, Pacific drive gear has it beat for the time being. Like I said, cosmetically, these two engines are identical. Looks like my pilot truck is derailed. There we go. Anyways, cosmetically, they are identical except for the tenders and the drive gear. Both of them are fantastic looking engines, and they really do run great together. So anyways, we're probably going to go to the running action next. If there are other clips inserted, put a caption at the bottom that explains what I'm about to do. But anyways, on to the next shot. Alrighty, so we've compared them, we've had a look at them, and now I just want to give my final thoughts on them as we roll them out. I think these engines are absolutely gorgeous. The detailing on the front makes them look super unique, and it works really well with the entire scheme of the engines. They're very colorful, they're very fun to look at, and they run fantastically. Now, in terms of the remotor job on this one, it's fairly well done. For some reason, the engine grinds gears, though. It's quite noisy. Other than that, it runs very smooth, just not super quiet. The heavy Mikado is definitely my favorite of the two. That running gear just looks absolutely incredible, especially when you factor in the boiler front and just the entire aesthetic of the rest of the engine. Anyways, those are my final thoughts, so let's go ahead and roll them out.